everybody, it's Tara Bryan, and you are listening to the Course Building Secrets podcast. Whether you're a coach or a CEO, the success of your team and clients is based on your ability to deliver a consistent experience and guide them on the fastest path to results. This podcast will give you practical, real-life tips that you can use today to build your online experiences that get results and create raving fans. Why? So you can monetize your expertise and serve more people without adding more time or team to your business. If you're looking to uncover your $1 million framework, package it, and use it to scale, you're in the right place. Let's dive in. All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Course Building Secrets podcast. It's Tara Bryan, and I am joined today with Cheri Yazzie, and I'm so excited to introduce you to her. She has an awesome business that she is going to introduce you to, and she's doing all sorts of super cool stuff, and I can't wait for you to get to know her today on this podcast. So Cheri, start us out. Tell us a little bit about yourself, your journey, how you've kind of gotten into this world of online programs, online courses, and really building your business online.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here. Well, when we got started with courses, it was literally out of, we were desperate to find money, and we started selling on Amazon, and it started working. But what kind of was there for me was this kind of feeling of, okay, well, we figured out how to have it work, but it took us a long time and a lot of money and a lot of mistakes. What if we could teach people how to do it and avoid all of that stuff? And I was like, it just kept percolating in the background. Like, I'd really like to help other people, because when we finally built our Amazon business, it was like the first time we ever made money online and consistently, and it just kept rolling in, and we kept getting the Amazon shipped the item you sold. And it was this amazing feeling. It was like, how could we have other people help other people get this? Like, we really wanted to just reach back and be like, hey, this is what worked for us. Because there was so many things out there, like courses that we took that were like teaching wrong things that like endangered your account. And I was like, we could do this better and help people. And that was really why we started teaching courses, is we wanted to help people. And then, of course, once we did it, I was like, this is the best stuff ever, because you do it one time and it's out there making a difference for people repetitively. And I mean, like, the time available compared to like running an Amazon business versus selling courses was like wildly different. There was just so much more flexibility, and the results were really fun. Like, literally having students be able to take their 90-year-old mother on the dream vacation she always wanted to go on, be able to quit their job, stay home with their kids while earning more than they earned at their job. I mean, like, we had people buying Rolexes and Teslas. I mean, like, just the gambit of anything, because people have different versions of success, but helping them towards that was so, like, it was just amazing and a great experience to have. And so I'm big on courses. I think courses are the way to go. Courses and programs and subscriptions all the way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's awesome. I love that story. And I think that, what's super interesting for people, if they're listening to this and they haven't started building a course yet, right? Like, they haven't gotten into that world of sort of transitioning the thing that you do to teaching other people how to do the thing that you do. What was that like turning point for you, right? So you did Amazon, you were, doing your thing, you decided to kind of start teaching people how to do it. Like, what was that moment in time that made you really not just think about it, but take action?
Well, it's funny. I actually kind of got pissed off. So I was out, in the world and Amazon groups and stuff, and there were some guys teaching how to sell on Amazon. And when I got to know them, they weren't actually selling on Amazon. And I was like, what do you mean you guys how's this working? And it really started to bother me. I was like, okay, if these guys are out there crushing it, they have never really sold on Amazon. I actually sell on Amazon. My husband and I sell on Amazon, have created a successful business, are currently selling, understand everything that's happening currently. And like, why wouldn't we do this? This doesn't, I mean, like, it was that there needs to be something better out there. Because there was also somebody else in the space that was, and I'll say this, like you said, to mention like something like that people can take away, have a niche, like truly something so specific people can opt out and know it's not for them, but the people that it is for, it is for. Because we were not only just an Amazon course, but also an online arbitrage. So there's different ways to sell on Amazon, like private label, and if you're doing retail arbitrage, if you're doing wholesale, and those are the above board ones. Then there's some other people who teach other ones that aren't as above board for Amazon in terms of service. And having that niche was one of the best things, because literally in the space of online arbitrage at the time, there was one other big course, and he was way more high priced, like by a long ways. And so we were that bridge. And by the time we really built up our course business, I would say, we were neck and neck with him as far as like, people finding us. And that's, I was just, that was an aside, but like literally having that niche was the most important thing, to be able to have people go, yes, this is what I want to learn. Because even just Amazon it's more specific than making money online, but it's not, there's so many possibilities that it could get lost if you're trying to teach everything. Just specializing in courses is so wonderful, because it really gives people a very specific thing they're working towards.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's awesome. So I heard you say a couple different things. So one is, and it's funny because I was just talking to somebody about this yesterday, the pretend guru, right? Like the pretend expert, and how much crap is out there from those people who say, oh, I'm the expert. And they really aren't. They just happen to be good at selling whatever it is that they are selling, right? But they're the pretend experts, when you and myself and other people out there are real experts at what we do. And so, getting fired up and being like, no, like we have, much more clout to be able to teach this. We know what we're doing. We've been in the trenches. Let's go and build this. And I think that's a really strong message for people to hear, is just because somebody is out there doesn't mean they're legit, right? So you can compete with them, especially if you are not a pretend guru. So I think that's a super important message. So I'm glad that you shared that. The other thing is, when you said like, find your niche, right? Is so often I think people struggle with, well, I'm an expert at this, but why would people pay for that? Or you can find all the information out on Google, or like, what is it that I have that's unique and special? And I think that, to your point, like really being able to identify what that is and finding that kind of just that level of specificity allows people to find you and have you stand out and to be able to build that. So that's awesome. I think that's definitely something that is a strong lesson, is find that thing, be confident in your little niche, whatever that is, and just start attracting people to you. That's awesome.
And to your point, people can find how to sell on Amazon all over, right? But they couldn't find the system that I created. And I would say that's the other point with a course, is it needs to be your system. So this system that I created was actually, I learned from somebody who doesn't teach Amazon, their system. And then I took what I knew and added to it and kept adding to it until it was this full-fledged, from beginner to $30,000 a month system of how to sell on Amazon using online arbitrage. And that was really key, because other people didn't have it. Even if they taught it, they didn't teach it the way that I taught it. Even if you went and found it on YouTube, you weren't going to get the very specific system that actually was proven to work by me and then our students repetitively. And that right there is the differentiating factor. If you've done it, and this is the thing I won't even work with people who want to teach something they've not done. I'm like, nope, sorry. Because I think that you have to do it. You have to really have that expertise of boots on the ground. How did it go? What did you do? Because if you don't know the potholes or the possible problems, you're really doing a disservice to your students, because if you have enough students, they're going to find the potholes. They're going to find the pitfall. They are like, and if you don't know how to help them through it, it's just I think it's a rough go. And even if you can help them avoid them, like, here, I totally fell into this. This is why you do it like this. that creates a strong course and a strong system. And that's one thing I think some people forget is, yes, people can go find this information, but they won't have it in a system that they know works, right? Because some random person on YouTube saying something doesn't mean that it's working.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. And we call that the learner success path, because the reality is that people will pay to be put into a system that they know works, that somebody else has actually gone through and then they can shorten the process. They can, to your point, get them through the hurdles and the obstacles and whatever else that they're going to hit faster and easier and with less pain. And absolutely being able to do that and help people out with that is critical. So do you think that that's like the secret sauce to a course that is successful and one that fails?
I think the secret sauce to a successful course is your confidence in what you're selling. Because the thing is, if you're talking about selling, right, and then how much you can transfer that confidence to your students, that what you're teaching is the way, right? If you watch The Mandalorian, it is the way. Because if they feel like they're doing it, then they have that confidence, then they're likely to take action. Because that's the whole trick with courses, is actually having your students take the action. And so it's the confidence in you, your system, being able to transfer that over there, so much so that they're like, I've got this, and they actually start taking the action. Because we had hundreds and hundreds of students come through, and right, there were some who didn't do well. And why was it? They took almost no action, right? Maybe they would learn the whole course or go through the whole thing, but they would never actually take the steps. And the ones who came in and crushed it, right, they took the action as they went. They got fired up and they went in, and it was like they were doing. And then as they did, right, they got their own confidence from sales. Like, oh my gosh, I sent it in and it sold. Hey, I'm going to look for more of those. And that right there is the key, is having those smaller wins. And I would say that's the other thing. Having the smaller wins helps your clients and customers build that feeling of confidence, because it's action always. Like, you can have the best information in the world. If no one takes action on it, they're not going to get anything from it.
Okay, so that's cool. So tell me, like, what is one of your biggest tips or strategies for how do you get people to take action in your courses?
I find one of the best ways is to have a really powerful story that people are very clear about. Like, you came from here and you got to here, and this is how you did it. And then also supporting that with case studies and testimonials from your customers. Like for us, it was like, high school dropout sells $20,000 a month on Amazon. A previous Lowe's manager becomes stay-at-home dad, sells $50,000 in a month on Amazon. Like, literally continuing to reinforce this, it's possible. And it's not just possible for one kind of person. It's possible for women. It's possible for men. It's possible for older people, younger people. It's like, as much as you can, obviously, whoever your demographic is, but instilling that belief, honestly, to me, is the most important thing, because then if they start taking the actions and you have some stuff in there where they get wins quickly, as humans, right? If you win, you're like, oh, I want to do more of that. I'm going to double down. I'm going to do more of the course. I'm going to keep taking the actions. So that's what I would say, is it's a combination between instilling those possibilities in them and small wins along the way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's awesome. And I think that one of the things we don't talk a lot about when we're actually doing the mechanics of putting something together is that belief, and helping people with the mindset that it's possible, because they have to believe that it's possible in order to actually take the action. Because you can give them the tactical steps to take action, but if they don't believe that they can do it, then they're not going to be all in. They're not going to actually execute and do it. So yeah, that's super interesting. Awesome. All right. So give me one really concrete tip that people can apply when they're either selling, creating, or launching their online course experience. Like, what's your, if you had a group of people in front of you who were just like, Cheri, give me the secret to your whole success in one of those categories, what would you tell them?
I would say one of the very most important thing, is having a really solid hook. So one of the hooks that did the best for us was like how we sold $496,000 in soap, shoes, dog food, and vitamins. So it built curiosity. People were like, say what now?
Yeah.
It had a sexy reward in it. And it was specific enough that it's not just anything, right? I mean, like that even takes online arbitrage and makes it specific. Like, and it makes people want to lean in. They want to learn more. And I would say inside of that one title, that became titles for our webinars, for some of our videos, variations of that title on several different videos. It became the basis of like how people even found us. And why did it super work is because people want to know what's in it for them, right? They want to know what's possible, and they want to know what the reward is. Like, and I find that sometimes with course creators, we tend to be like, well, don't people understand the reward? I mean, they should already know, right? I mean, like, this is good stuff. I've poured my heart and soul into it. It's amazing. But they don't unless we tell them, and not just tell them, but tell them using the sexy reward, the thing that the end result of, if you help people here from A to B, what are they doing at B? What's the awesome, sexy, tangible thing that they have? You know, it's like even people who like teach confidence. You don't want confidence for confidence. You want confidence to be able to go in and ask your boss for more money. You want confidence to be able to find that partner who treats you amazing. Like, right, those are more tangible things.
Right. Well, and that's so good. And you know, I want to dig one more layer deeper into that, because you're 100% true, right? It's all about the hook. What I find that people struggle with the most, especially when you're a course creator, meaning you have an expertise that you want to teach other people how to do, and or how to achieve, or how to be successful, or whatever, is it's really hard to get yourself out of that expert mindset, right? Super hard to be like, well, okay, I know the result, but how do I make that sexy, right? It's like, it's super easy to teach it and put it into a framework. Well, I say it's easy because that's my thing. That's difficult for people to do, but more, I think it's more comfortable for people to think about what they're teaching and how they're going to teach it than it is to think about, you know, even positioning it different, like that sexy, you know, hook or the sexy headline. That's harder for people because you almost have to get out of your own expertise in order to do that. How did you find yourself being able to do that? And then, like, do you have like a tip that would help somebody if they are struggling with, how do you even just get out of your own expertise?
So yeah, because I mean, right, you get into the teaching bits and it's like the how-tos and all of that. But you can have the best how-tos if no one knows why they should watch it or why it's amazing. I mean, like, even if it's in your course, like even your module titles should be sexy, like, so that people get why they want to watch it. Because even after they've bought your course, there's stuff they're going to skip if they're like, nah. But if you want them to watch it, you want it to be sexy and be clear on the reward. So the way that I think about it is I back up and I think, okay, if I'm here, you know, whoever you're marketing to, right? So for us, like beginner Amazon seller. So like they've probably sold some stuff. Maybe they're around $1,000 a month. Like, but it's not really enough to make a business. Like, it's good, right? Some extra money rolling in, but it's not enough to fully make a business or like quit your job or anything like that. Then if you go over here to, okay, I've quit my job, I have this stellar business, you know, I'm taking home $10,000 in my bank account for myself. What happened? And like, wow, that right there, that's sexy and that's clear. And so when you pull back, you want to think of someone going through your program and having that result. And what would that be? And how would you speak that result? How would you communicate it specifically? And the best thing is actually have people go through your program and then find out, like have exit interviews where you're like, you know, what happened? So for us, we did, instead of exit interviews, we actually did YouTube interviews where it was just like this, side by side on Zoom. And we would talk to them about their story, their struggle, the things that worked, and like where they are. and what result they were getting. So obviously we focused a lot on the money, but sometimes we focused on like that, the trips that they were able to take and being home with their children. Like, so there's really specific results. And then that feeds really truly your results, because those are true life results that your people got. And in the beginning, before you have people, just what did you get?
Mm-hmm.
What, like, do you not have to do you not have to have an alarm in the morning? Or like literally it can be as small or as big as you want it to. You just focus on that till you get some people through, and then they'll go out and do some stuff and have cool results. And sometimes you're like, wow, that's a result I was not expecting.
Right.
But then those are things you can list as well in your hooks.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I love too, what you were talking about earlier is what are the small wins? And sometimes maybe it's not the big bang result that you want to focus on, but what are those small things that then you can help highlight as, kind of the bigger reward as they're going or as they're growing or whatever, and as you're building up your whole list of, results that other people have gotten in your course. So that's awesome. Very cool.
Oh, and I would say, this is one thing I'll say, when people tell you nice things online, if they send you a review, if they reply to your email, have a place centralized, like a Google Doc, that you put every single thing, because you think you'll remember, but you don't.
Right.
And then sometimes you're ways down the road and you're like, man, I don't have any testimonials, but I bet you do, because people tend to, when they have a great experience, they will say something, whether it's online. I mean, you can obviously solicit testimonials and things, but have a place. And honestly, as we talked about before with the confidence, before you do a video, before you write a sales page, go read through those testimonials because you want to be full up with that confidence of, I am so good, when you get on and do videos and content.
Yeah, that's so good. I love that. Awesome. Okay, so one of the things that that I didn't tee you up for, but I'm going to put you on the spot for now, is one of the things I love about you. And Cheri and I go way back. We were in a program together. But one of the things I love about Cheri is that you can show up authentically and confidently, like you were saying, and be unique in whatever it is that you're doing. So if it's, the courses that you're selling or your Amazon business or the other things that you do, like you are all in and you just light up, all of the different spots that you're in. When you do that, like, what's your secret sauce for that? Because I feel like that's something that you just are always, I'm sure you're not always like that, but whenever I see you, whenever you're out there in the world, you just show up and you do your thing. And that's so important, in my opinion, in order to draw people to you. So what is it that allows you to be able to show up that way? Like give us a little bit of the behind the scenes of Cheri and how that works for you.
Awesome. Thank you. I love the question. I love being put on the spot. I'm totally good with that. I would say, honestly, it's personal responsibility. And by that, I mean, I come to enjoy myself. You said I'm not like that. I'm probably not like that all the time. I actually really am like this all the time. Because if I'm doing stuff that I don't like, that is pulling on my energy, that I hate, I almost always systematize that stuff out. Or I, find someone else to do it. Like, there's just so many options. You don't have to get stuck in things you hate doing. And so, and then the other part of that is, so I take responsibility to really design the parts of my life that I love. So, like, for instance, with the Amazon course, we actually have phased it out, because I was no longer enjoying selling on Amazon. I was no longer enjoying talking about tape, and all of that parts. And I was like, I'm here for something else. And so we started to phase it out because it was no longer fitting. And that, I think people get stuck in this, right? Like one of my favorite things is, I don't know, did you watch the movie, the biopic about NWA? Ice Cube and Dr. Dre and all them. Okay. Well, Dr. Dre in that movie, he recorded these amazing beats, but he was in this really toxic, relationship with his label. And they were holding him, like, if you leave, we own these and you don't get any money from them. And he was like, I can just make more. I'm like super confident. I can just make more. And he did it actually twice. And of course, now the story is he's a billionaire. And so it's like, it was this idea of the confidence that you don't have to stay in anything, even if it's been the thing you've been doing. You can move on. You can create it how you want it to be. And that's honestly why I'm light and bright and enjoy myself, because I want to enjoy myself. And if things aren't enjoyable, I fix them or I move them or shift them. I do it in my personal life. I do it in my family. I do it in my business, because I feel like we're here to enjoy ourselves. If we're not enjoying ourselves, what is the point, especially as entrepreneurs? Because like we've broken free from our jobs, most of us, right? And it's like, so no one's telling us what to do. But if we're still miserable in our entrepreneurship, that's fully on us. Like, because we are the ones who create our schedules. We're the ones who say what we work on. Because there's a buyer out there for anything. Literally, if some guy can sell Bigfoot tours, Bigfoot's not even real, guys. Like, we can sell whatever we want.
Yes, I love that. Awesome. So with that, you've sort of transitioned a little bit, right? Off of the Amazon courses. So are you doing some new courses? Are you doing something a little bit different?
I actually have some courses in the works, which is so funny because I've been kind of just doing more VIP sessions, one-to-one kind of things. And some stuff around ads and things, because I teamed up with an ads agency. But I was like, I just barely was like, and it was, thank you. It was having you invite me on the podcast. I'm like, that's right. My first love, courses. I need to go back. I miss you so much. So I'm actually just going to put together some things for women entrepreneurs to help them like with really specific processes, like hiring. Like nothing huge and overarching. I just actually want to start putting some courses back out there in the world. So yeah, that's what I'm working on.
Awesome. Very cool. Well, and that's a great segment, because one question that I always love to ask is, and especially women business owners, is a lot of times we have a lot on our plate, right? We're busy, moms or, part of a family, whatever it is we're doing in that. We're running a business, household, all sorts of other things. So what would you say are your habits or routines or different things that you do to stay kind of motivated, to stay excited, to stay in the game amidst all of the other distractions that are going on?
So I restructured my life a while ago and put myself firmly first. Now, I obviously still take good care of my son, but I'm first. And what that means is, because like I never put myself first. I was like, my husband was first, my son was first, my business was first, my clients were first, like all of that was first. And so at the end, like I'm exhausted. I'm like just ragged. Like I started looking older. I was like, okay, my energy was crap. I'm like, okay, I actually think there's a different way to do this. And at first it felt super selfish. I was like, I'm going to put myself first. I take baths, I dance, I sing, I just enjoy myself. I intentionally chill out and watch Netflix. I mean, like I listen to what I want to do and I do it a lot, right? And so what does that do? It actually seems to compress time, because I'm able to show up as a mom. I'm able to show up in my relationship, and I'm able to show up online because I am taken care of. I feel good, like, right? I get my nails done. I do the little things that actually make that difference. And the little things of getting cared for. And over the last year when I couldn't do that, again, it reminded me of how important it is to actually schedule time to take care of yourself, or have someone else take care of you. That small act, that small bit of pampering can sustain, at least for me, sustain me for like a month. I feel really good because I know I'm cared for on a different level. So when I did that, then everything started to naturally fall into place. Like my son started doing his own laundry. Little things. It was kind of like, why am I doing this? How about you do it? And he's like, cool, yeah, hon, I'll do my own laundry.
Sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. And then we taught him how to do it, and he manages it. So then it's like small things, same thing. I'm like, oh, you know what? This isn't working for me anymore. Would one of you like to do this? My husband and son. And then we hired out for a house cleaner years ago, before we could afford it. but it was massive. Like it took this huge bunch off my plate. I didn't have to worry anymore. You know, you go in and you go to the bathroom, like, oh man, it's dirty. I've got to clean this up. It's the mental energy continually of all of the things you have to manage. And so when you take it off your plate, now, if it ever is dirty, I'm like, oh, she's probably coming really soon. Oh yeah, she's coming on Saturday, you know?
Yep, for sure.
It lightens you up, it frees you up. It sounds simple, but it really is the stuff that changes it, because I have a lot of time. I'm one of the only entrepreneurs I know who has lots of time. I'm pretty flexible, but it's because I've done it this way. And so it just doesn't seem as difficult, and I'm not resisting so much, right? Because that's one of the things. When we're hating what we're doing, we resist it, we avoid, and then it's like, we've been doom scrolling for 2 hours, and they were like, where did the time go? And you're like, oh yeah, on the doom scrolling and feeling guilty that I wasn't doing X, Y, and Z with my child. And when you're like, I don't frick all that. I'm not interested.
Right.
You have so much more time.
Well, and it's true, right? If you take care of yourself first, then it frees up some of the energy that's sort of just being sucked from you just in general. Because I can every single time I either can't show up or don't show up or just am drained, it's because of that. It's because I haven't taken the time. For me, it's running, or, like getting up early and just having some quiet time before all of the crazy happens. And I can tell when I don't do that, because then I can't show up. It's harder to show up, versus if I've done that, I'm like, oh yeah, this is super easy to show up because I'm full, like I can do it. So yeah, that's so important. And so that's awesome. So whether you are a woman business owner listening to this, or you are married to one, it is very, very important to listen to that message. So thank you for sharing that, Cheri. Okay. So to wrap us up, I have one other question that I always ask, which is, give us a tool, a book, a resource, a tip, or something that we may go out and look for, that has been kind of like one of the key things that you recommend people do to get in this game.
So that question, when I read it, I'm like, interesting. What would I say? And I really think two things. Again, going back to building your own confidence is really huge. And one of the best ways I've found is to read other people's stories, to find other people's, there's how it went, because the more you feel like there's so many possible ways to make money, there's so many possible things to teach on, there's so many possibilities, other ways to do things, that is like the biggest expander. And so for me, I'm guessing probably your audience has already read this book, but the 4-Hour Workweek was a big deal for me, because it took me out of the paradigm of, okay, you do this, and then 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 you die. And it was like, wait, people are sailing around the world and selling t-shirts? What? Do you know what I mean? Like, it is this opening, like, so any stories like that. And I tried to think of another book, but 4-Hour Workweek was one that truly, because it focuses on business, it focuses on totally different ways to do things, that just got my mind moving in the whole, this is a possibility kind of a way. And then the second part for me, especially with courses, is when I found so I use FG funnels or Kartra. And honestly, having a centralized place where I didn't have to worry about all of the tech stack stuff made a huge difference in how I was able to test things, even like, without building out full out, what your final would look like, but like what your final course would look like, but more like just testing. Is this an interest? Are people interested in this? Before, when I was like trying to piecemeal it, it's like things would break down and then I wasn't clear, like, did people really click the button or did they not? Like, so I would say those two things, building that confidence. So anything that does that, stories is what I find from entrepreneurs. So obviously, like, listening to your podcast would be great, because you get all these different ways of people doing it. And then having a tool that you feel confident in, that that you can test your stuff, that you can put your stuff in there.
Yep, that's awesome. Very cool. All right, awesome. So where can our listeners find you if they want to hear more about or from you?
They can go to lovableaf.com. So that's spelled like LOVE, able, ABLE, AF.com.
Awesome. Very cool. Cheri, I am so glad that you were able to join us today. Thank you so much for all of these great, awesome nuggets you gave us today. We appreciate it. And best wishes to you in your future endeavors. So we'll have to keep track of what you're doing and what those new courses are that you're going to be putting out there. So thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
I hope you enjoyed today's episode. The best thing you can do is to take action on an idea or tip that resonated with you. To help you take action, I have a free gift for you that you can download in the show notes. During each episode, we publish an action plan worksheet and other helpful takeaways from our speakers in the Course Building Secrets Creators Lab. To register for free, click on the link in the show notes. Enjoy.
Hey everybody, are you a business owner ready to streamline and scale your business? Imagine solving the biggest business challenges with clarity, a strategy, and a clear plan. Hey, I'm Tara Bryan, and I want to invite you to take the first step towards transforming your business with a free 30-minute discovery call. This call is an opportunity to discuss your goals, identify key challenges, and learn how my mentorship program can help you achieve the success you're aiming for. In just a half hour, we'll explore how you can scale your business by enhancing your authority strategy, engagement strategy, and retention strategy. You'll get personalized advice and a clear path forward. Ready to take the first step? Click on the link below that's in the show notes to book your free discovery call now. I hope to talk to you soon.